Hey, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm Anthony Jones,
I'm Jackie Jones.
and we are here to let you know into our little space. We're going to talk about finances today.
Yes, we are.
Hey, so like, subscribe,
Comment,
do all that, man. And I want to say we appreciate all the love and support that we've been receiving. So just continue to do so. And we're going to put out some content for you, man. We're going to keep letting you in our space, man, because we feel it, one, that is necessary, and it's been a blessing to us as well. We've been learning and growing throughout this whole process.
Yes, we have.
We're going to let you in and talk about our finances today. So here we go.
All right. So I asked Anthony earlier today, does he remember our first argument on finances?
Nope.
And he said he doesn't remember.
I don't.
And so I'm going to bring it to your attention. So one day we were heading over to his mother's house, and we had like this big argument about me taking over the money and him relinquishing it to me. And my whole thought process was, okay, you know football, Anthony, and I don't. So what do I look like trying to explain to you the game of football, and you would tell me that I don't know it? And he just did not get the whole thing. And I'm like, but I know finances. And right. He's like, I know. But I would have thought that would have made a lot of sense. And I'm just steady pressing. It didn't work. We get out the car. As soon as we walk into his mother's house, she must have seen us parked across the street. And so she's like, were you guys having your first argument? And I was like, yes. Yes, we were.
I do remember that.
I was stressed in that car.
Yes.
So I'm glad you remember. But it was a long time ago, but it was one of our first big arguments in the car.
And you know, all that was a man being prideful. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things where I felt like the man was supposed to do everything. The man was supposed to take care of the finances, this and that. Even though your boy wasn't good at it.
No, at all.
Even though I wasn't good at it. I just felt like I was just in that prideful mode, like King Kong, I'm the man, I need to do this, I need to do that, but my bad, babe.
I guess.
it was a pride. I think every man goes through that, but it was just something for me pridefully that I shouldn't have done because I just didn't know what I was doing. I never was raised on how to, and I could be wrong. The only person that I knew of at that time that was a man that really knew how to work out finances was my Uncle Ali, shout out. And he was the only one that I knew of that was real savvy as far as finances. I may have missed some stuff, but hey, so sorry.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's okay because only person I had was my dad, and I thought that he was a cheapo, back then. We couldn't get. This seemed like we didn't get anything, but if I have to look back at it now, like we got almost whatever we needed and kind of wanted. Yeah. And then I remember when I was had my first job, he would have me pay bills. Like I had in my mirror when I came in the house, he had the bills stuck in the mirror, the telephone bill, right. Whatever bills I guess he thought I needed to pay. So that kind of got me in the motion of knowing how to pay bills. Right. And I guess if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't have had any type of experience of paying anything. Right. So that's how I got kind of inclined on the idea of how to take care of.
That was just one of the things that I will say that my grandmother was not able to teach me because I can't say she was bad with money. I don't know that for sure. Right. But
because nobody really talked about their money.
We did, especially in our community. You know what I'm saying? Especially the black or the minority, however you want to put it. Like in our house, we never really talked about money. One, we didn't have a whole lot, or
everybody was trying to just make means. Make everything meet. So like we need to talk about it. We need to take care of business. We need to make sure everybody eat a little something, or whatever. And then after that, we made it for today. Right. Yeah, we made it for today. So I can see why, because I
didn't know nothing about savings, 401ks, or none of that.
Well, savings for me was easy because I was saving ever since I was a kid. I always had money saved up in a dresser drawer or somewhere. I was always
Oh wow.
I always had money. So
right.
I always
So
had
you know
money.
how to save.
Yeah, so that was just something for me that I knew how to do.
But that was something that, again, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, but that was something that I did not know, honestly, until I got with you. Like, I didn't know about a whole lot of stuff dealing with finances until I met you. Like, I didn't know about because you've been having a 401k since 18 or however. You know, I didn't know that stuff. I didn't know nothing about it. So, and so anyway.
I mean, but you did. Like, I remember when we were dating, and you would literally go to the place and pay your bills. And I'm like, why is he driving all over town to pay his bills? All you gotta do is pay it online.
That's all I knew. I didn't know.
It took him a while to get used to, like, can you at least just log on to the bank app and pay these bills this way? He would rather.
I'm old school.
I was like, this is not gonna work. You cannot just be you wasting gas, and we barely got the money to pay the bills.
Right.
That's not gonna work.
Right.
So during these hard times, how did you feel like when we went through the difficult? Well, I guess we have to talk about the difficult times.
Yes.
Because during this time, like, we lost 3 cars.
3
during this time. So we had 2 definitely repo. Well, one was a voluntary repo. One was the hiding the car from the people repo, and then the other one was a car that just got taken away. We'll say it like that. Yeah. So we had
crushed my heart.
Yeah, the one that crushed his heart was the first one, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the second one was the actual repo, and then the third one was the voluntary repo.
Yeah.
And so we had 3 cars taken away. We were down to 1 car, and that was a struggle all in itself.
Yes.
I wasn't even worried about the property.
You wasn't?
Mm-mm. I really wasn't, because I knew the first one, we had to acquire another bill when the first one was taken away. Yeah. But that was fine. We just get a car. Right, you know what I'm saying? Right. But the other ones, when they got taken away, like, it didn't bother me because I knew it was difficult anyways.
Yeah.
So it was almost like a. And then the third one, when I heard from God to say, literally, get rid of the Explorers. What I heard, nobody can tell me I didn't hear it, because I've heard from God before. He told me and I reacted. Right. And I was at work and he said, get rid of the Explorer. Exactly what I said while I'm working. And I said, okay. And I packed up the whole family and we drove that car right to the bank and dropped that car off. Right there in the parking lot. And I thank Anthony for listening to me, because I said, this is what we got to do. And we took it, and we were in a way better position. Yeah. Saved us $200+ on a car payment. Yep. It was one of those newer kind of Ford Explorers. Yep. And we ended up going backwards to we was at a 2017 Explorer and went back to like a 2008 white Explorer. It was like, it was humbling, but we had to do what God told us to do, and we had to do what we had to do.
Again, I can't say it enough. I just really honestly am thankful that I at that time, I let my pride to the side. You know what I'm saying? I let my pride get to the side, because if I would have been prideful, I'd be like, no, I would have just did. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like when the day when we gave up the newer Explorer, like, and I had the kids, we had the kids and everything in the car, and they were upset.
They were.
That the car was getting taken away. Like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, doing what I need to do. Yep. And we left that car right there in that parking lot. And if I have to give a quick thing about it, years later, they tried to come back for $14,000 for that car. And for some odd reason, I kept all the paperwork on that car, all the weird documents they were seeing, and I'm like, none of this paperwork makes sense. So I just retained them. And then I got a letter from an attorney, and the attorney's like, we're trying to get this $14,000 from you. And I'm like, let me go through these paperwork, and all the numbers didn't match up. And so I wrote the attorney a whole letter back.
I remember.
And she called me and she told me, she was like, do you still want to pay $20 a month? And I said, yes. And she said, I'm going to call the bank back and I'm going to tell them that you're going to pay them $20 a month off of a $2,000 balance, and that's going to be it. So it went from $14,000 to just owing $2,000. And I think we only got that favor was because when I heard from God and I reacted, then I got that
That's what you
favor.
got that.
Right,
Yep,
I got
yep,
that favor from
yep,
that,
I
because if
remember.
not, then I'm pretty sure we would have been owing that $14,000
Yep,
bill.
yep,
Right,
yep,
so
yep,
that was really a blessing from God on
for
that
sure.
on our relationship.
For sure, man.
Anthony, let me see. Anthony used to work a lot,
Yes.
and even during working a lot, we had child support.
Mm.
And child support had Anthony's checks
Two
separate orders of child support. And that had Anthony working tremendous hours and time, and his checks would be what, about $200?
No, I can tell you exactly. $234.17.
Wow.
That's where my checks were, even with overtime.
Even with overtime. So it was like I was maintaining the house with my money, and that was it. And,
Yes.
And all the work that he would do was not recovering.
None.
It was not helping at all. We almost lost the house. I had to file through a program. It did help out a lot because it lowered the mortgage down by a lot, but we did almost lose the house. Like I said, we lost 3 cars. I was going to, the first time ever, having to go to food pantries to get food to feed the kids, which wasn't even food to help. Like, it wasn't, like, the food that they were providing was food I've never even heard of. And I'm like, what? I had to ask the people, like, what is this? And I remember the lady saying acorn squash, and I was like, I'll take it.
But we couldn't be choosy at that time, though.
Not, and it was like a lot of pasta and a lot of potatoes, and I'm just like, okay, but I'll figure it out. I don't even know what I did with those acorn squash. I was just like, I don't think Pinterest was out there, so I was like, I don't know what to do with these.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I would get, I would just have to make what I called miracle meals back then.
Yep.
And all of the miracle meals was actually really good. We would be like, this was the best food ever. But it was a definite struggle trying to figure out what to cook when it's minimal food to cook. When you look in your refrigerator and there's not really a lot of food in the refrigerator, this is a thing. I remember when our daughter would come over and I would feel like crap because it was already hard to feed the people that were in the house. And then we would add another kid to the bunch.
That's true.
And it would make it, that one extra mouth for 3 extra days was difficult.
Yeah.
That and trying to make up meals.
Yeah, because there's sometimes you didn't eat, right?
Definitely. I had to tell Anthony some years back, and he wasn't even aware. He didn't know that I wasn't even eating. I was literally I would eat while I would cook. So I would take, women, we know, you go in, you cook, you taste. And so that's what I would do. I would just taste, and then I would make everybody else their plates, their food plates, and then I would just tolerate for the rest of the night through the day. It was no lunches. It was just make it work.
Right.
So we really had to survive during those times, and it was just stuff that we kept to ourselves. I wasn't going around crying to people saying that this is what's happening and all of this.
Again, at that time, and we kind of talked about it and hit it a lot of times or briefly before. It was just like one thing that I admired about you as being a strong woman was that you found solutions. You didn't complain. If you did cry, if you were upset, and you did in your prayer closet. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I just admired, because I wasn't in that mentality at that time.
Right.
My mental was not. I think I've always been a survivor just because of the humble beginnings I had growing up. But my mentality as far as finances were different. And you were, of course, much stronger in that. So it was like you did not complain. You just found solutions to get it done. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna nag on you because you got 2 child supports and this. And you wasn't doing that.
Yeah,
you were just like you never brought that up. And I don't know why. I thank you for that. Because that could have just drew
more
bigger
pressure
and a bigger wedge, and it could have
us.
definitely went bonkers after that. But it was definitely one of those things I admired, and I fell in love with you even more. And I felt bad as a man. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I'm not being the provider to this family that I need to be. I didn't sign up to treat you this way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I don't know.
I accept your apologies and everything else. It's hard to dwell back on it, but I'm actually glad we're talking about it because I don't think we've ever even sat down and
never did this. We
talked about how we felt. Because I used to tell you. Remember, I used to tell you like I feel like I'm married but single. That's exactly how I used to say it. Yes, you did. I said I would always tell them like I feel like I'm married but single
because I was never home because I was always trying to work.
He was always working to try to recover for the loss of money that he wasn't bringing in, but it really wasn't doing anything. Because
I didn't relinquish at that time all the money to you. I was still trying to do what Anthony wanted to do. Even the process of you feeling married but single, I was going and I was working all this overtime. I was working a second job, but I was bringing you what I felt that you should have had at that time, and I shouldn't have been doing that. I should have been doing like kind of what we do now. I give you all the money. I have a little piece of change over here that I can use for whatever I want, but you got the bulk of the money because you know what to do with it. I don't, and even to this day, I think you don't know, but I pay attention more to how you do things. I know you probably don't think I know, but I do. So if you were to have a surgery or something, I would definitely know how to do it, but I wouldn't overstep that boundary unless you say, hey babe, you got to make sure this and that is covered. You know what I mean? So I just didn't feel like I just relinquished everything over to you at that time.
And it made it hard that you didn't.
Yeah.
It was really, really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I admit, I'm definitely a huge reflector. I like to reflect, and I definitely made a lot of mistakes in that era or that kind of time in our life as far as our finances went.
I mean, you used to be like, I lost my wallet. And I used to be like, why do you carry cash? Like, you going to carry all of your whole paycheck in your wallet?
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you really? And then at points I would be like, he got to be lying. Like, who does that?
Right.
And so I would be like so exhausted of all of the every time you would. I mean, I guess I'd be so exhausted of you coming, and it would always be something.
Right.
So I knew it was always going to be something because I remember at Longview Lake you came to me about $400, I believe it was, that was missing somehow, and then you got upset with me because I'm trying to ask you like, okay, so what the heck? Like, where is it at? What's going on? Again?
Right.
And
I honestly, I probably was lying about some of the stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't remember it. That's another topic. Lying. Ooh, I was a liar. You hear me? But woo. But I'm gonna be honest. More than likely, I probably did either lose something or I tricked it off on something that I probably shouldn't have.
But then I never seen it. Like, it was like, it would be like money, and then it would be nice if I seen where the money was going.
Yeah.
But it was money that we should have had that I never seen where the money was going. Not $100, not $200, hundreds of dollars just poof, gone. Like, oh, okay. What I
don't know if I don't think we talked about it, but I just also just kind of remember, kind of back up a little bit, just kind of how you had told me about you saw red flags. I remember I was at Walmart and I came into a whole bunch of money and I was just buying a gang of TVs.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to buy a TV for every room, and then I looked at her. And was like, "You want a TV?" I said, "You want a TV?" And I think, did you say no?
I probably said no.
Yeah, I think you said no. And I mean, I was at Walmart just spending thousands of dollars on TVs when I know I shouldn't have been. And
where are the TVs?
Right. We still got at least 3 of them.
Oh, those TVs that we finally just now trying to swap out? Yeah. Okay. I'm like, where are these TVs? See how I feel like?
Now, man, thank you very much. While she trying to bust me out.
I did. I'm like, hold on, where is
them TVs was prized possessions. But no, seriously though, it was. She was, and she told me later that she was like, I saw red flags then about you handling your finances. So I should have listened then, but I didn't. So anyway,
and because you didn't, the whole family
suffered.
But you know what didn't suffer is I don't even think our kids were aware.
They didn't know.
Our kids had no idea that Mama wasn't eating, Anthony not making no money, we not walking around the house arguing. Mm-mm. No, we could, if we go over people's house, you wouldn't have known that Anthony and Jackie were actually really broke and struggling. Like really, really bad. Unless you've seen like how they got this Explorer, now they got this other cheap Explorer. They went from this fancy car to this. Where the other one at? Hey, I had to make a financial move, had to make a wise decision, and that's why it's gone. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. You hear me? And I would let you. Yeah, I would shut everything down real quick because when that stuff happened, I shut down all entertainment.
Everything.
We wasn't going nowhere. No. We wasn't doing nothing. No, it was like right now we got way too many subscriptions. But then all them subscriptions had to go. Everything, the cable. I bought all antennas. We was on antenna TV.
Right.
I shut down everything.
You did.
The kids was loving what was that cartoon TV show name on antenna TV? I can't even remember. But the kids was loving because that's all they had.
Yeah.
And we just took everything backwards. And we had to, and it worked out just fine. And then another thing I want to say, like for child support, like I was never even upset for child support. I really wasn't because I was on the receiving end, not receiving, but I was on the receiving end, so I can understand the woman's perspective. Like you gotta do what you gotta do if you're not getting what you feel like you deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if he's not going to freely give, then you have to go ahead and make a decision. If that's her actual reason why. You know what I'm saying? If it's under pettiness or something and you're not giving the man a chance, I don't think that's fair because I have 2 children by 2 different dads, and one was on and one was not. And because one was just willing to do it on his own, and I was like, okay, cool, we ain't got no problem. I asked you for something, I get it. If it was the other one, if you're not gonna freely do, then this is the circumstance that arises. You know what I'm saying? But I was never mad at it for that. We just needed to figure it out.
Yes.
We just needed to figure it out.
I promise you, I thank God for you because you did. You know, I promise you, I just can't reiterate enough to you and my kids that how selfish I was. Not knowingly being selfish, but pridefully being selfish. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I probably to the day we rest, babe, I would probably always let you know how appreciative and thankful I am of you for handling business and taking care of things that needed to be taken care of, and apologize, you know.
Let me tell you, because I'm thankful for you, honestly, because you didn't stop. Like you really kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. Like when we were down to the one car, because we were down to just one car at one point, and so we had our baby, we had the other kids, and I'm still having to take one to elementary school, one to daycare, and then one to the babysitter.
Yep.
all in one day.
All in one day.
All in one early morning.
Uh-huh.
Anthony had to work through the night, and then Anthony had another job in the morning.
Yep.
And so it was like, wake up the kids, pajama wake up times. You wake up in your pajamas. If it's nighttime, you know, they still have their pajamas and stuff on. Wake them all up and take them to pick him up from work, bring them back home, put them back in the bed, wake up in the morning, and then
well, remember throughout that process though, like when we did get down, of course, to the one car, and then I got down to the one job. When you would take me to work at night, I would walk home in the morning. I walk home.
You eventually started walking home in the morning. It did.
But it didn't. Oh, okay.
I did used to pick you up from that place.
You did. I do remember that.
I did used to pick you up from that place.
You did.
And so I would have to pick you up from that place, and then I don't remember if I brought you home, and then
I thought I was when you picked me up. I thought I was dropping you off at
there
work.
was a time that you used to drop me off. You're right. You used to take me to work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you used to take me to work, and you would pick me up from work. But then that had to cease because I think it was gas. Because matter of fact, because that Explorer took the flex fuel, and flex fuel is like water, but it was so much cheaper.
But we wasn't in that. We was in the old Explorer then, because I remember that mug was eating up so much gas because it was a V8.
Nope, it was the newer one. Definitely was because I was driving Elijah to Emelva's house then. It was just a whole. We were still within the trying times. Let's say it like that.
Right.
But during that time, we had the newer Explorer.
That's true.
And
I remember that.
I remember I would drive from Grandview, and I would drive. So Dorian to school, Kobe to 75th Street to daycare, and I would have to drive all the way to up north by North Kansas City Hospital, a little past North Kansas City Hospital, take Elijah to
little city of Avalon.
Elijah to my sister's house to watch him come back to downtown to come to work, then go backwards the other way, back to pick Elijah up north, and fluked, and then go backwards, which was back to Kobe, back to Dorian, and then home, and then cook a miracle meal, and go to sleep. You was going to work, so like I really wasn't even seeing you. It was
wild. It was wild. Shoot, I actually lost a lot of weight during that time too.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight because he started walking. Once he realized what that struggle was for me and all the different traveling. When he would get off of that job in the morning, he would walk from work all the way home. I
about
think
2 or 3 miles, 2.5 miles,
miles every day.
And then I would go to sleep. I would wake up, then walk maybe a mile and a half, close to about a mile and a half, close to 2 to the library to fill out applications. To get a better job so I can be a better provider for my family.
And you were always at the library. Always. That's why I said I appreciate you too, because you didn't give up. You just kept pressing and pressing and pressing.
Yeah.
And we made it through, but it wasn't easy.
It was not.
I don't remember if I broke down crying at any point. I don't even think I had time to think.
Yeah,
I don't think I had time to think. I was just doing. Like, this got to get done. This got to get done.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Where do you feel the turning point was? Like,
I know exactly where the turning point was. One day I was at work. I don't know what happens at work, but one day I was at work and I was sitting at my desk and I heard apply for Peggy's job. And do you remember the story?
Yes.
So I heard apply for Peggy's job.
I do. Yes, I do.
And it was so weird. I got up from my desk and I went to the bathroom. And I told this girl at my job, I said, I just heard apply for Peggy's job. And she was like, Peggy about to retire. And I was like, is she? And she was like, yeah. She was like, you should apply for it. Because I used to work under Peggy. And I said, oh, okay. And then she made a certain amount of money. And I said, oh man, that would be such a raise. Mm-hmm. And so I went and I applied for Peggy's job, didn't get it. And I was like, okay, so what was that? Yeah. And so I didn't get the job. And then, then I started searching for that amount of money. And so the department I left to get in the new job I was at, they were hiring, but that department was trash. But I was willing to go back to back to vomit. I was willing to go back to vomit just so we can get I think it was like a $5,000 increase. I was willing to go back. They were willing to pay me whatever I wanted just to have me back in that department. And so I was going back behind my current manager, and I was talking to her. I was going back talking to my old manager behind my new manager's back, who I thought was cool also. And I was talking to the old manager. She was like, whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you want. We just want you back. We want you back. But I felt terrible about it. I don't know why I felt bad. I mean, I felt terrible. Like, I'm going behind her back. And so I went to my current supervisor, and I was like, can I talk to you? And she was like, yeah, come in. What's wrong? And so I told her, I said, look, I said, this is what I've been doing. I've been going behind her back, and I've been going behind her back, and I've been doing X, Y, and Z. And she was like, well, do you want to go back there? And I was like, absolutely not. And she said, well, so what is it about? Is it about money? And I was like, actually, yeah. And she was like, well, let me see what we can do. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, give me a week and I'll come back to you. And the amount of money that I was going for at the old apartment is the amount of money that she ended up giving me.
Wow.
Was either like $5,000 or $6,000 increase in pay then. And that increase in pay for me is when I believe that it all shifted.
Yeah. And then too, even throughout that process, you know, I was able to get something and get some stability and be like, okay, this is what's gonna happen, and the transition happened. I was leaving a job, one that was real chaotic and all that, ended up where I'm at now, and here we are. You know, I will say this too. She may not, yeah, I bet she agrees. When we started tithing, sometimes it wasn't a whole lot, the full amount, you know, but we was just giving, and boom, you know, everything just kind of turned around, and you know, the rest is history.
Meaning like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yes. I'm the one with the money. I know when we started tithing.
I know. Excuse me. First off, I'm just talking about just how things just started to change. You know, when we was just started giving, not necessarily tithing, like I wouldn't say the full amount at that time, but just being able to give, you know, little here, little there, and you know, everything just kind of started shifting. Boom, boom, boom. So
do you think it might have been when we started going to church together?
I would say that too as well. Yep, definitely, definitely. That was huge.
I think that's
because I think
that's when you started listening.
Yeah.
That's when you started listening.
Definitely.
Because you weren't listening before.
Nope. I wasn't. And I think we just came in that space where I was around men that wasn't prideful. You know, I mean that word, man, it's a disease. but I think I just started seeing and paying attention to the men in the church and all that kind of stuff, man. And then it just kind of helped me like change and just reading scripture and doing everything for myself, not for myself, but you know, to be able to bless my family. So.
And I think I'll mention one other thing during that time, because I wasn't a church goer. I would go when my grandma would have us go, or you know, the Easter service, going to church person. Other than that, I really wasn't going to church before I started going to the church we go now. But before we started struggling, I started reading my Bible just off the cuff. Just started reading just because. It wasn't even because we were struggling in. I just had popped the interest in Proverbs, and I was like, oh. And then, you know, just continued with it.
Yeah.
And then I remember I used to tell this lady that worked in a cubicle in front of me, I would tell her the stories and what I'm reading and all this stuff. And I think because I started building up the relationship then, I think those were 2 times when God spoke to me and told me, you know what I'm saying? So he's let me know. But I think that's when everything just kind of started, like it had a beginning, which is when I just wasn't even like really saved. I was just reading.
Right.
And then I went from there to then hearing from the Lord twice, which then it just coming to like, oh, this, like he was actually present during those difficult times, and he actually spoke to me and gave us a resolve. So just proof of who he was.
Right.
But
Right.
What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm sorry.
But anyways, that's really the gist
The
of our whole financial
yeah.
things, and you guys can really get through it. Press through there. Don't leave your husband during that time. Y'all press in together.
Yes.
Have the conversation, because we just now really sitting down having the conversation now.
Yep.
We know what we went through, but we just now sitting down and actually talking.
And if we went through everything that happened or transpired, we'll be here for about another 2 hours. And
we had loss and gain, lost and gain. But I'm telling you, if we had to go through it again, I'll make swifter decisions, and we'll step back real quick. You see us have something and it's gone, I ain't gonna worry about it if you see it's gone, because I had to make a decision.
Right.
So we'll do it again if we have to, and we'll be even more powerful than what we was before then. So
that's right.
Y'all stick together. Y'all keep loving on each other and praying and all that good stuff, and you'll make it through, man. Marriage is not easy all the time.
Nope.
Not all those rainbows and hugs and kisses and all that. You got to go through that fire, baby.
Fellas, continue to be the men of your house, and don't be afraid to relinquish or just empower your wife, because you guys are in it together. You know, I'm thankful that I was able to get that. So everything is for the betterment of you guys, the family. You guys are a team no matter what. So with that being said, we thank you. We appreciate your love and support again. Here we are. We're talking about our finances. We've been transparent in everything that we do. If you have any questions or even topics that you guys would like to share or want us to discuss, of course, hit the like and subscribe button. Make comments down at the bottom. Yeah. I think next week, what was we talking about? Was it trust? No, it was affection.
Oh, affection.
Ooh, next week.
So he's gonna be doing most of the time on affection.
Next week is gonna be on point and even more, because affection,
I had none.
It's okay.
I'm still working. I'm getting better.
She getting a lot better.
I'm getting
a lot better. She even rubbed my black toe last night. No, just playing. but nah, just tune in next week. We appreciate the love and support. We thank you very much. And here we are. We signing off. Mwah.